Bring it to you live as soon as it happens from NFL headquarters here in New York City. Well, another Fox News alert for you. President Trump just wrapped up a meeting with senators on the Finance Committee, including my next guest, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. They were talking tax reform ahead of a critical vote this week on the budget, a resolution that is necessary to then get tax reform done.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, in my opinion. This is something that will be really unique. The timing is right. We're going to restore America's competitive edge, rebuild America's middle class, very much aimed at the middle class, and renew the promise of the American dream.
Trump also tweeted this: the Democrats will only vote for tax increases. Hopefully all Senate Republicans will vote for the largest tax cuts in U.S. history. That from the President of the United States this morning. Now let's bring in South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, a member of the Finance Committee and the Help Committee. Sir, great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Harris.
Just met with the President, and we've heard the President talk this week on tax cuts and reform to the American people. Anything new coming out of the meeting that you just left?
I think the key for the meeting that we just left was, number one, the president was very clear that he wanted to produce a middle-class miracle for hardworking Americans, and he would love to do it in a bipartisan fashion, but we are ready to go it alone. The focus of this tax reform package is centered on how do we make sure that everyday Americans get to keep more of their money in their paychecks, and that means reducing their taxes. So the focus was very clear. We're hopeful that there will be a bipartisan opportunity, but we are prepared to make sure that we deliver to the American people the ability to keep more of their paychecks, every single paycheck.
Yeah, I can almost hear the cheering from the middle class and really everybody in every income level, because when you look at middle class and small businesses, those are the people who are working at those small businesses that keep creating jobs. You say a middle class miracle. Can I ask you, why does it take a miracle to help the groups of people that both sides on the political party landscape say that they want to help?
Well, it certainly should not, but the reality of it is, if you look at the last time we had an opportunity to do tax reform and got it done, it was 1986. So when you're more than 30 years later, it would be a miracle for us to get that accomplished if we're going to do it in a bipartisan fashion. What would not take a miracle is for 50 of us as Republicans to vote for a bill and get it across to the president's desk so that he can sign into law these cuts that will help inspire and encourage growth and innovation in our economy in ways that we have not seen in a generation. What would take a miracle is for us to do that in a bipartisan fashion, which should be a part of our goal.
Yeah, President Trump this morning talked with our morning host, Brian Kilmeade, about getting Democrats on board. Let's watch that, and then I want to get your reaction.
Sure.
The problem is we have no Democrats. We have absolutely no Democrat votes.
Have you tried?
Yeah, we've tried. They're in a block. They have 48 votes, and all they want to do is obstruct. Now, I think we'll have Democrats if we get through the budget. You know, we have to get through the budget first. If we get through the budget, we have the taxes. I think we're going to have some Democrats, especially in states where I did very well.
You grow the economy from the middle class out. If the middle class does well, then businesses do well, and we make things in this country, and working families get tax breaks. And that's what the president said in his campaign. That's what he said at Forbes last week. That was part of what he said last night in his Heritage speech that I watched. And I want to find a way to do it right with 60 votes bipartisanly.
I got to think he was pretty popular, Mr. Sherrod Brown out of Ohio, at the meeting today. I understand he may have joined you guys.
He was there, and he was very clear on what he thought was necessary for us to move the ball forward. The reality of it is that the Democrats will be obstructionists if, in fact, they are not willing to allow us to move forward in a bipartisan fashion. The onus is on them to come to the table. We have opened the door. The door is wide open. We want to make sure that the focus is not on folks on the left or folks on the right, folks up or down. This is our opportunity to focus straight and center on the American people who are working every single day, and for the vast majority, they have not seen the economic recovery come to their home in the form of a pay increase. So this is a chance for us to reduce their taxes, increase their take-home pay by focusing specifically on those things that will help that happen.
Yeah, I want to move on to healthcare now, and I want to point this out because people may not know it, Senator, but you and the president have met many times, and you have talked about bridging different types of divides. So I know that you have talked also about, absolutely. After Charlottesville, I understand. You've talked bipartisan on many issues. As we reach healthcare, we saw Senators Lamar Alexander and Patty Murray, a Democrat, Democrat, a centrist she's been called, reach a deal on a bill, if you will. Some Republicans say they don't like it. Democrats say they don't like it. How do you bridge the divide and get the president's vision of having some sort of replacement repeal for Obamacare potentially by spring 18?
I think the fast track to get there, the president and both Republicans and Democrats all want to find a way to stabilize the individual market. This is where a lot of the pain and suffering for the everyday American who is either self-employed or an individual not covered by a group policy. There are about 20 million folks in that market. That market is challenged because there's no group affiliation or association. So the president's executive order that provided opportunities for folks to be a part of an association plan, even as individual employers or self-employed individuals, actually moves the ball down the field significantly. The opportunity for us to stabilize the market and not have an insurance bailout is a second tier, and that's the legislation that's being worked on by Lamar Alexander and Senator Murray. I'm hopeful that they will move the ball forward enough, i.e. allow for more flexibility for states. By doing so, those CSRs that we've heard a lot of talk about in the news, we could get those done for 2 years if we're able to provide more conservative solutions, which means flexibility, catastrophic plans, more waivers for states to be innovative and creative in the space of healthcare, so as to make sure that the average person can afford a policy with the coverage they want and not pay for the coverage they simply do not need.
All right, before I let you go, I want to talk one more question about tax reform, because it's hitting me now as we're watching the Dow. I mean, Wall Street is reacting to the idea that tax reform really could happen by the end of the year. So analysts are telling me. And if that's the case, north of 23,000 on the Dow. I mean, look at this number. It's unbelievable, right? But here's the thing. Is it postured by, okay, we're going to get some policy, and if and when that policy doesn't happen, what will it look like? That is the concern. So how do you get there on tax reform? I'm looking at the list of the Finance Committee. You've got people like Senator Claire McCaskill. You had some Democrats outside of Sherrod Brown who were at this meeting today. What are you hearing from them that you think, okay, we can come together?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, the focus on the middle class is left and right. That's good news. Second, looking for a way to make sure that we understand and appreciate the dynamic nature of our economy so that you can include that as a part of the analysis on how you grow the economy to create the future jobs here in America. If we can stay on that page where we can have both Republicans and Democrats having that conversation, we have reasons to be optimistic. But let's not forget the fact that the goal is not for us to have a Republican solution or even a bipartisan solution. We need American solutions for people who have not seen a raise in a decade. Wow. That's our goal, and we need to remain focused on that.
No, it is so true. I bet it makes you sometimes want to walk across the hall and bang on a door.
It's frustrating at times, without any question.
All right. Tim Scott, Senator from South Carolina, thank you, sir. Hope you'll come back.
Thank you, Harris.
All right. No apologies when it comes to Merry Christmas, or saying God, or on matters of heritage.